Hey everybody, this is exporting slash loading SQLN models with Joblib. So what we will be doing in this tutorial is to look into how to export a machine learning model that's developed with sklearn and later load it to maybe to run some predictions. So I'll just run some imports first or installations first. So if you do not have these packages, you might want to install these. So we need pandas. I'm going to say pip install pandas. Then we need sklearn or scikit-learn. That's how you install it. And to export the models, we need the package called joblib. Now, I've already installed these packages on my system, so I do not need that. So I'll just comment this out. So if you're installing this for the first time, you might want to do that. Now, I'll just have some imports. So I'm going to say, I'll just comment this cell. I'll say imports. Obviously, I need pandas, so I'm going to import that. I'll import the warnings module and ignore any warnings. So and we have a sklearn. So I'm going to say from sklearn import, I think from sklearn.linear model, we need to import linear regression. We'll create a dummy linear regression model, linear regression, and we'll import joblib. Cool. So that's working. Now let's just define a random dummy dataset. So we'll just say we have some X columns and Y columns, and we'll say we just import it from the Python. We'll just create random numbers using Python. We'll say from random import randint, and we'll say X equals, we'll say some random value, say randint of somewhere between, let's say, 1 and 100. I'm going to say for underscore in range of 100. And you can always do this with I think with the NumPy random module, or you can generate random numbers. I'll just do this with the Python values or the Python list comprehension technique and the random module in here. And let's just see if the X is working. We'll just say rand end is not defined. We'll just run this cell again. X, let's see. I think from random import, sorry, it's not int, it's import. And we'll run this. It's import. And if we run this, now that works. We'll say X and we have 100 values in there. And what we will do is we'll say Y equals item for item in X, and we'll add some random very small values. So I'm going to say plus rand end of somewhere between 1 and 5, right? And we'll see if we have Y. Let's say rand end, and we have some Y values for that. Now what I'll do is create my data frame. So I'll just do this. Let me just clean this up. I'll just say create data frame. I will create my data frame using pandas. So what I'll do is I'll say df equals pd dot data frame, and I'll provide this as a dictionary. I'll say my x is x, and I'll say my y is y, and df. Okay, we have another error here. We say import pandas as pd will give us an alias. It's very commonly done. And so we have our x and y values here, and we'll just construct a linear regression model by saying model equals linear regression, and I'll just put in some comments here. So let's say define linear regression model. Cool. And we should be able to train on the dataset using fit method that we have. So we'll just say model.fit on our x and y, and we'll just say x equals to df of our x column, and we'll say y equals to our df of dy, which is our target. And I'll just make this small, not as small. If I do this, we have our trained model. And so you've trained your model. Maybe you could run some predictions, or, so you can say maybe run predictions. And you did some evaluate, machine learning, let's say, evaluation metrics. Now, what you need to do is export your model, right? And this is where export to disk. So maybe you can use this in your API and then serve the results on a web application. So to export this is where Joblib comes in. You can say to export to this, you can say joblib.dump, and you can pass in the file name that you want to export to. So I'll just say um, linear regression model dot joblib. You want to make sure the file name is joblib, and we'll just pass in the model object that you created. And we'll just run this. We have an error. Let's see. I think it's the opposite. So it's the opposite way around, right? So you say you pass in the model object first, and then pass in that, and that works. So if we just look into our disk in here, so I'll just run this, and you can see, must be able to see that there is a linear regression model.joblib file. So I'll just come back and to, let's say you want to use this in your application, right? You want to load this to memory. You can say load model file, right? You can say, I think the name of the function is this, and let's say our model equals, let's just call it linear model, or say linear m equals joblib.load, and you pass in the file name. So let's say linear regression model.joblib, and you have that there. So we'll just run this, and there you go. So we have the same model that we exported. So this is an extremely easy technique to kind of for you to use your trained model on an API and then maybe serve it on a web application or your mobile app through your REST API. That's all. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching.